Canning tomatoes can be a little bit controversial. So it's Amanda, your growing green girl, here to talk all things canning and tomatoes today. So if this is something you're interested in, please subscribe, like, follow, all of those lovely things. When it comes to tomatoes, there are a lot of misconceptions about what is safe to actually do. You want to make sure that you are following a safe tested recipe. That is my number one advice for all canning, especially for beginners, is to follow a safe recipe. Don't just follow any old person on YouTube because there are a lot of people who are not following food safety regulations who could be getting you sick, and you don't want to do that. I really like to use Bernardin for my canning recipes, but there are lots of amazing safe resources out there like a lot of extension offices in the United States, and Ball and Bernardin have great recipes online for free, as well as their books. Number two, when you're canning tomatoes, you need to add acid. So if you're doing something like salsa, that's easy because you're going to be adding vinegar to the recipe. It's already part of it. But if you're canning whole tomatoes, tomato sauce, chopped tomatoes, you want to be adding in lemon juice or citric acid. And this is important. It doesn't really, I didn't find it altered the flavor at all, and it keeps it safe. So you might think that tomatoes are acidic enough that you don't need to worry about it, but they aren't. Part of this is that we have been breeding tomatoes for a while to be less acidic. So our tomatoes just are less acidic than your Nona's tomatoes back in the day when she was canning sauce. So you want to keep that in mind. Also, you don't know how acidic each tomato is, so it can all be different, and it doesn't take any extra effort to add a little scoop of acid into each jar, and then you get safety and you don't have to worry. The next tip for safe canning is to peel your tomatoes. So I didn't realize this. It actually is safer if you peel your tomatoes. I have canned tomatoes with the peel on before, but I pressure canned it. So if you're going to leave the peel on, you need to pressure can it because that helps with the safety issue. So what it is that the peel can harbor bacteria that you can't quite do anything about cleaning wise when you're washing your tomatoes. And water bath canning is not going to be enough to kill any of the bacteria that is on those skins. And a lot of people think the skin is bad texture wise, can get a little bit chewy or add a tart flavor. I didn't really notice a flavor difference or a texture issue with it, so that's to each their own. But I am going to probably peel my tomatoes going forward, and if I don't, I'm definitely going to pressure can it. And that is an additional tool that you can use to make your tomatoes extra, extra safe. So as long as you're adding acid, you can use your water bath canner perfectly safely with tomatoes. But if you are a little bit paranoid, you're a little worried, if you're scared of botulism and other icky things happening, just use your pressure canner. There's nothing that says that you can't use your pressure canner for your tomato sauces and your jarred tomatoes. Use it for the same time that you would if you were water bath canning, and you're adding an extra level of protection on there, although you don't need to do that. Also, you just need to make sure you're following all of your normal safe canning rules. So the best safety practice is to be using clean, sterilized jars. If you're using a pressure canner, you don't necessarily need to sterilize your jars, they just need to be clean. But it doesn't matter either way. You have to warm up the jars before you put the sauce in, so I see no problem with sterilizing them since you have to heat them up anyways. And you want to make sure you're using new lids. So a lot of people will reuse lids, but just as an added extra safety measure and as an added way to make sure that you're not going to have any failures with your seals, it's good to use new lids. I like to save the old lids for when I'm doing anything like dehydrating, and I'll use that for those jars of dehydrated goods or anything that I'm just putting in the fridge. In addition, you want to make sure that all of your equipment is cleaned and sanitized the whole time. You don't want to be using anything, if you drop something, don't pick it up and use it again. That kind of thing. And you want to make sure you wipe your rims to make sure that it's all clean. All of these, normal food safety things that you're doing with all of your canning, you should also be doing with your tomatoes. And finally, you want to make sure you're using the best produce that you can. So whether you grow it yourself or you buy it from the farm stand, grocery store, farmer's market, you want to make sure it's good quality, and you don't want anything that is wrinkled, anything moldy. I won't even use, like, if it's a whole tomato and there's a little bit of mold on the end, I won't use that in canning. Maybe I'll use it for cooking something to eat and cut off the moldy bit and eat it, but usually just put it in the compost if you want to be safe. You don't want to be using anything bruised, mushy, anything like that. When you're canning, you want the best quality because you're trying to put something up that's going to last. And it's going to last a lot better if you start from the best place. And that is all the safety information you need to know about canning your tomatoes. I hope that you are all having a great tomato season and canning season out there, and you're getting everything up on your shelves that you want. If you have any other questions about it, please comment below, let me know, and if there's any other topics you want me to cover, do that as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe.